Welcome to Who's a Good Human, a podcast about the animals that have left a mark on our hearts. From cats and dogs to chickens and horses, this is the podcast to lift your heart and remind you that animals make the world a better place. I'm Siangard, your host. Meet Lee and Ollie, two lovely souls that shared a passion for food and were pulled apart by tragic circumstances and COVID lockdowns. Here's their story. Lee, welcome to Who's a Good Human. It's so nice to have you here, and thank you for making the time to come and talk to us about Ollie.
What a great name. Who's a good... Whenever I see it or hear it, I just think, yes, me. That must be how my dog felt.
Yeah, it was kind of a play on who's a good boy or who's a good girl or all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. But I wanted to talk to you about Ollie. First off, can you tell me what is your funniest memory of Ollie?
Oh, I have one, but I don't know I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
You can say whatever you like. It's a podcast.
It was during COVID, and I decided that I would have a joint on my balcony. And so I had a joint, and I was like, I'm just going to take Ollie for a walk. And obviously Ollie was around me. And then at some point we were walking and I found him just barking at a wall just for like 10 minutes. I'm like, what are you barking at? And then it dawned on me that perhaps maybe Ollie might be a bit stoned as well.
Oh, look, there'll be some people that are enraged by that, but some people that will find that funny.
Well, I didn't think that would affect him. It was out in the open and he was running in and out of the balcony. Like, it wasn't like I was trapped in a room with him and he was made to have have that experience. He was just sort of just roaming free and doing his own thing. But yeah, also it's very illegal. So
And that was a long time ago. And in the past,
was a very long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And things were strange during COVID, especially in Victoria and New South Wales, where I was in Victoria, and it was very strange in Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
So Ollie obviously brought a little bit of joy to your life during lockdown, but take us back to the first time that you clapped eyes on your little dog, Ollie.
I rescued him from a place called Dunroman, which is, it's kind of on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. So I had to drive quite a fair while to go and get Ollie to begin with. I adopted him with my ex-partner, and we didn't know if Ollie was going to take to us, or it was more of a come and see how it goes. If he likes you, you can take him home. If he, so we couldn't really take that chance because we'd driven something like 4 or 5 hours to get to the border of New South Wales. I had this thing planned, which was a little bit cheeky of me, but I thought I'll make some bacon and egg muffins for the car.
Yes. Was this some food bribing of the dog?
Well, we didn't bribe him with the food, but I thought if we eat it just before we get out of the car and it's on our fingers, if he's a motivated dog and I love food, then he's my dog, right? It's just got to be, it's fate. And we didn't count on how many dogs would actually be at this place because it's like a rescue compound. And so as soon as we got out of the car, there would have been 10 dogs just running up to us and sniffing our fingers and wondering where this ham and egg, thing was. And it was the funniest situation. And we spotted Ollie straight away and he just didn't leave our side. Maybe it was probably because of the food situation, but he didn't leave our side and he was so adorable, and we just thought, well, we've got to take him home now. Thus began our foodie adventure with Ollie.
Oh, foodie adventure with Ollie. Now, what kind of dog is Ollie?
He is a Maltese Jack Russell.
A Maltese Jack Russell. Describe the coat, his little face. We need details.
Okay, so he is a very unusual looking dog. A lot of people thought he looked like a schnauzer because he's salt and pepper. But so he looks like a Jack Russell in terms of like the color. Like he's got that spot on his back, but he's um salt and pepper, and he's got a double coat. So in every other way, he looks like a Maltese. Floppy ears, kind of long hair, some whiskers, or a beard, if you will, which is why a lot of people thought he looked like a Schnauzer. But he's very much a Jack Russell. He's got lots of energy, very cheeky. They did say that he was a mischievous boy, and they were not.
So you took him home. He delighted you with, as you said, foodie adventures. Now, you are a big foodie. So what do you mean by foodie adventures? How do you take a dog on foodie adventures?
Well, he was a very picky eater, but he was very food motivated. He'll find food if you've buried it like 6 feet under. He just loves it. You'll take him to the park and you've got to keep a keen eye on him because he will find some chicken bones that have been, because there's a barbecue area where we used to take him for a walk, and I guess people used to just throw their chicken bones out thinking it might decompose or something. And so he would find that in the swampy areas. I think he came back once with a packet of chips, like a McDonald's chip packet with his head stuck in it because he tried to get the chips out. Whenever I used to meal prep, I used to make zucchini like just for the week, and so I'd chop them up and I'd parboil them. And it's almost like he could smell it, or he knew when I was chopping zucchini, and he loved it. And as soon as he heard that I was chopping zucchini, he would come running out and he would just like sit there and watch me. And all he wanted was zucchini. But yeah, that was all he ate. Didn't like broccoli, didn't like salmon. He ate some good food.
How old was he when you got him? 2. So what was his background? Did you ever find out about what his background was?
They were quite vague with his background. So they said that he was given up. So they said that the previous owner had run into some trouble. They didn't say what kind of trouble, but was unable to take care of him. But he had come fully trained. I didn't know this at the time. We had to sort of learn that as we went. But it was my first time owning a dog, so I was afraid he was going to piss and poo all over the house on the first night. But he was so well behaved. He waited until the next morning, and we took him for a walk. And he was the kind of dog where he was quite courteous. He liked to jump into shrubs or like somewhere off the beaten path just to do his poop. And so a lot of the times we couldn't even get to them to pick them up because, it's just not where humans would walk. So he was really courteous. I think he was a farm dog because he was scared of a lot of things when we first got him. He was scared of bicycles, people in hoodies, children, prams. He didn't understand what stairs were. And so I think he was just allowed to sort of roam free on the farm and do whatever. But yeah.
How did his personality develop over the time that he was with you?
He was probably a little bit anxious when we first got him. He used to, if we left him at home, because we were very conscious of separation anxiety. I didn't want to give Ollie that. So, we did a lot of things where we left him at home and we'd come back like 5 minutes later, or like we'd come back 10 minutes later. And he would find things to just drag out into the lounge room or the hallway. So whether it be like a shoe or find a sock somewhere or an old t-shirt. And I don't know what that behavior was, but that was kind of a little bit of a quirk. It did go away after a while. He took to my ex a lot easier than he took to me, which is obviously very heartbreaking for, because then at points it was sort of like, I'm just chopped liver. I feed you, I bathe you, I walk you, and you can't wait for him to come home. And I've been looking out for you the whole day. And so I really had to bond properly with him because he'd already decided who who his alpha was, like who he was following and who he was loyal to. And, I was just the spare human. And so I really had to not train him, but it took a lot of time. And one of the things that we did, I kept him on a very tight schedule. So every morning we would get up at a very specific time. We would walk around the park 3 times, and it was the same route every single day. And I think we did that for months. And so he knew that I was not going away. I was his person, and yeah, it was hard work.
How long did it take for him to kind of switch and I guess for you to notice that he had realized that you were his person?
I don't know if I realized or like when exactly it started to happen, but there was this pinnacle point where towards the end of me and my ex's relationship, we had a very big argument and there was a lot of yelling and a lot of screaming. And we were both yelling, and
Mm.
he and my ex at one point yelled particularly loud. And Ollie came and stood in front of me and started barking at my ex to back
Oh,
off,
yeah.
which actually surprised the both of us because my ex all of a sudden just was jolted back into reality, and he said, "Oh, yeah, it must be really loud. Like, Ollie doesn't normally do that." And I said,
Oh.
"Well, yeah, I think he's trying to protect me."
Oh. What did that feel like? Even though, yeah, you're in the moment and
I was
that
like,
was
"I've won." Like, "Screw you. I have the dog now." I was like, "I don't care if I lose this argument because I won, Ollie."
that's fair. That's really fair. So you've won Ollie's heart. He is yours. You're
He's
is
mine
his.
now. Yeah, he's
The
mine
ex,
now.
the ex is in the background, far, far
I'm
away.
the
Long, long.
chosen one.
How did your relationship with Ollie, and Ollie is your dog, of course, that's what we're talking about. How is your relationship with Ollie? How did it develop from there? Because obviously Ollie had you and your ex, and then it became, I'm assuming, you.
Yeah, really good. So we, not long after that, it was COVID. So we sort of really kept each other company during those times. And it was really good to have him around as well because we went on so many long walks for as long as we were allowed whilst we were in lockdown. And he became, a really good companion. He would lie and read with me. He would be my cooking companion. He'd come and snuggle me in bed. He likes to sleep under the bed. He thinks that's his safe space. And I have beds for him in the lounge and in the bedroom. Like, he's allowed to sleep wherever he wants, and he chooses to sleep under the bed. And, during COVID, because now that the bed's free, during COVID, at around 6 a.m. every morning, he would come up to the side of the bed, and all I would hear is, and he would do that until I lifted my blanket up so that he could crawl into bed with me. And then he would just sort of snuggle into, like, my little nook. And that was that. And then we'll just snuggle there for a couple of hours until it's time to go for a walk. I know.
Oh, obviously Ollie was your first dog.
Yeah.
Did you have any expectations before you picked up Ollie about what your relationship would become with this furry little creature?
No, not at all, actually. I just knew that I wanted a dog, and I don't think I quite prepared myself well enough for how much I was going to feel for this animal, how much it was going to, mean to me. And I'm going to start crying soon because I'm thinking about Ollie. No, I just, yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks, all of the emotions that, I would come to feel. Uh, yeah, I didn't think beyond that. And maybe that was, maybe if I had thought about it, maybe I wouldn't have been so brave.
To get a dog. um, so speaking around that, we're going to dive into the feels now. What did
Oh.
Ollie come to mean for you?
Well, he still means a lot to me. He was my first dog. I consider him a son. He's someone that I took care of, someone that entrusted me. His well-being and honestly, like, I just the love is unbelievable. Like, every time I think of him, my cup is so full.
It's really interesting that we get this from our animals. How did Ollie express his love to you from what you remember?
Oh, I think every time I see him, he's so happy. He's like, whenever I walk through the door, his entire body just shakes. Like, the shaking is it could start an earthquake. It is so vigorous, and he's just a happy dog, and he doesn't really complain. He's very protective, and I think from where we first started, I think it's very obvious that by the end, there was a lot of love. I went from being like an absolute stranger and him the spare human to I wanna snuggle with this human and be really happy when she comes home and all of that.
I'm really curious for just going back into the sort of the feels around Ollie and the feelings that you developed for this little dog and how this dog developed those feelings for you and protected you against the big vocal noise of your ex-partner. Um, when did you know that there was a connection for you to Ollie?
Probably a few months in, I think uh, after the 2 of us getting into a routine, he seemed to calm down a lot. So, in the beginning, he was mischievous, right? So he would, I'd come home and there would be things all over the place, or he would chuck a little mini tantrum and there would be, like he'd find a piece of paper and that would be strewn everywhere, like, or he'd find a box that was lying around and tear it apart. And there was a point, maybe a few months in where I'd come home and everything was fine. He was just chilling out. It's all good. And and it's an unspoken thing, right? Like I could look into Ollie's eyes and there would just be this calm, this peace that I feel in him. So, that I don't know, maybe I'm projecting. I probably am projecting, so I couldn't possibly tell you how a dog is actually feeling, but he there was a very noticeable, way in which he settled in.
Yeah. I don't think it's projecting. I think you just kind of see it in the animal. I think you kind of see it when they trust you wholeheartedly and
Yeah.
uh, they trust you for their safety and they trust you for your love. And it's kind of a really nice space to be in. And for me, it was the moment that I was asleep and at 1 o'clock in the morning, she jumped on the bed for the first time. And it's not the last time since then, I can tell you that right now. And it was 1 o'clock in the morning and she woke me up and she was barking at me
Oh,
in a nice kind of way. But it was like, and tail was wagging. But prior to then, she was an anxious, skittish, wouldn't really come near me kind of dog. And then that was the moment. I was like, what? What's going on, Lizzie? I don't understand because I was half asleep. And then she ran out into the backyard and did zoomies and then came back in. Came back in. I could hear her thundering around the backyard, greyhound. Um, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting there going, what on earth is going on? And then she came in again into the house, jumped up on the bed and laid next to me and fell asleep. And I was like, what just happened? What happened? My dog.
you've
What?
been chosen!
I've been chosen for the zoomies and I'd been chosen to hear the zoomies because there's no way I was getting out of bed at 1 o'clock in the morning in winter in Victoria to watch her zoom around the backyard. But it was a moment that I certainly remember.
She's
And
become quite the nomadic dog, living in Victoria, in Sydney, in Perth.
her, yep. she's travelled across to Nullarbor in the back
Yeah,
seat of a car.
exactly. She's nomadic.
She is. I also wanted to ask you about the moments where Ollie supported you as a person, because I know that I've been Lucy's sole carer since basically I got her and brought her home. So she's seen me at the best of times, she's seen me at the worst of times. How did Ollie support you in your life and when things were great and when things weren't so great?
Ooh. Okay, well, when things were not so great, he had this uncanny, like, way of knowing when I was gonna start crying, and he would just come and sit next to me, and it was very subtle, very gentle, and he would just come and sit, and he would just lean on me. And it would always just make me feel better, like, it's almost like he was saying, "I got you." He wouldn't do anything crazy, but he would just sort of, like, lean on me, and then if I looked at him, he'd, like, look back at me, like, and it was just he was so damn cute. He was so adorable.
So he
No, it
was
was
there
good.
for when the cries were happening.
Always.
How much solace did it give you to have a little animal that was willing to comfort you in that way?
I don't think I think it's really sad to say that I think I took it for granted at the time, because when you're in the moment, you don't really think about it. Now, obviously, when I think about it, I cherish those moments, and they're always gonna be really special to me. I'm so grateful that I was, given the opportunity for that to happen. But at the time, you're I wish I had, given that more space. I wish I had been there in real time to really, really appreciate it, and not have been so lost in whatever was going on with me. I wish I'd taken that time to step out and be really grateful for what Ollie was doing for me.
Yeah, but you're grateful now, Lee.
Yeah, but he's gone.
Let's talk about when Ollie left. How
Mm.
did that happen?
During COVID, my aunt was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. And I flew up to Sydney to look after her and, consequently got stuck for about 5 months because all the borders were locked down. And yes, I probably could have gotten, special consideration to come back home because I had a pet, an excuse. But obviously, I couldn't leave my aunt the way that she was either without knowing whether I was going to be able to come back. Like, it wasn't a fly in, fly out on multiple occasions sort of situation. It was, if I go back to Victoria and something happens in New South Wales, they might not let me back in or out. And so I made a really difficult decision. At the time, I was bouncing Ollie around to some friends because all of my friends were so helpful when they had found out about my situation, and they said, "Don't worry, we'll look after Ollie. You go and look after your aunt. It's what you need to be doing." And 1 week turned into 2, turned into 3, turned into months, and I was feeling terrible, because especially when you have friends that don't have dogs, that's not a life they chose. I chose Ollie. That was my decision. That's not their responsibility, and you can own that's stretching a friendship a bit too thin. And so when a friend of mine said that he knew someone that was looking for a dog. They're a really nice couple in Werribee South. They live on a farm. They just lost their dog during COVID and they're looking, for a replacement. Lovely, lovely elderly Italian couple. Uh, I don't think I had a choice. I think that I felt like that was the universe giving me a solution to
Yeah.
a problem, whether I wanted that or not. And, leaving, and I eventually I did fly up, um, to sort of do the exchange, and that was probably one of the hardest nights ever because I don't think he wanted me to leave either.
Oh, of course not, Lee. But you did the best that you could with the situation that you had, and COVID was so difficult, and you were in a really hard place. I mean, taking care of a family member while they're going through such a horrendous time.
Yeah. I just, I hope, I think he forgave me in the end. He
Of
was,
course.
with a really, really wonderful family, and they were so nice. They said, "Whenever you can visit. We'll send you photos." They had grandkids who, you know, always played with Ollie. He had a whole farm to run around in. He's never been happier. They served him salami that they make themselves in their own factories. He could not have been a happier dog. I think he was speaking Italian every time I spoke to him.
Buongiorno.
Yeah, ciao bella.
Well, you did set him up for being a foodie dog because
That's
you
true.
you love food and you have got a vast and amazing history with food. So you were preparing him for his salami tasting session.
Exactly. Exactly. No, he was very happy there, and he had a backyard, and they let him roam free, and he was very much, whenever I'd visit, they'd say, "It's his farm now. It's not our farm anymore. It's his farm. He rules everything." He goes here, he goes there, he goes to the neighbors, he, trots over to my kid's house. And so, yeah, he was really happy, but he was allowed to roam free a little too much. He was a little too free, and he's a house dog, like he's an apartment dog. And I think having all that space, he wasn't. How do I say it? I don't want to put blame on anybody
No.
because I think they did the best that they could with him, and I know he's a mischievous dog as well, and they're old, so wrangling him to do anything was going to be very tough. And she used to tell me stories where she would try and let him out the back into the backyard, and he would just run out to the front and just sit by the front door and bark until she opened it, and then she'd open the door and he would fly out, and he'll come back a few hours later. He's like, "I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm
And
still
it, and
I've
it
got
sounds like he ruled the roost.
still doing my rounds. Thank you very much. Just still got to check on the artichokes, okay?"
Oh, nice. I love the fact that he put the artichokes above any sort of salami tasting or any ham chasing. You know what I mean? But it's,
And sorry, and so
you go.
from there, he was well, one morning he was hit by a car
Oh, I'm so
as he was
sorry.
doing his rounds, and yeah, that's how I lost him. But I did go and see him at a mere couple of months before that, and I didn't know that that was going to be the last time that I was gonna be able to feed him snacks and give him a cuddle.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But it's always a shock when they leave. And it doesn't matter if they leave because they're in an accident or they leave for illness. I'd put a cat down a few years ago, and I remember saying to Edie, that was her name, named after Edith Piaf. I
Oh,
was like, yeah, I was like, we haven't had enough time. And we'd had 8 years together because she was a rescue cat. And I kept on saying, I'm so sorry, we haven't had enough time. And it never is. And your heart just breaks a little bit.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
sounds like Ollie was this bright, bubbly, joyous character who landed in your life and brought so much. If you could have Ollie and tell him, if he was sitting in front of you and he understood every single word that you said to him, if you could tell him about the joy that he brought to your life, what would you say to him?
Oh my god. Oh god, Siad, what are you doing to me? I'd tell him that he was so loved. He was so loved. And you're right. I wish we had more time, I wish I could have been a better mom. Yeah.
Well, I think that even you just saying it right then, Lee, his little doggy ears would be pricking up and going, I know, but where's my salami?
I know he's graduated from zucchini to salami. He was like, zucchini?
I want my parboiled zucchini, Mum, and my salami at the same
No, he
time.
ate
Thank you
them
very
raw,
much.
actually. He ate them raw. I had a piece of
Oh.
salmon once and I thought maybe he'll like the salmon. I put it on his plate and he sniffed it like some food critic is sniffing. And then he like backed away and he looked up at me like, what are you doing? Why are you serving me this? That's not a zucchini. He had these weird expressions. They were so funny. He would constantly be doing things like that to me. Like, oh, actually, back to one of your questions about how I knew I was chosen, how I knew he'd finally chosen me. So when we used to go and play, fetch, I would throw the ball. And in the beginning, like, I know he knows how to fetch, okay? He's a dog. And he would fetch with other people, but I would go and throw this ball and he would sit there and he would look at me and then he'd look at the ball and then he'd look at me again and then he'd just go, no. But it was the looks, like he didn't just, like his instinct was like, oh, and then he'd be like, is this a trick? No. And then I'd go and then I'd see him play with other people and I'm like, come on, I feed you.
They've got us wrapped around their little paws.
Yes, but it did
Lee.
turn around. So,
Yeah.
we were eventually able to play fetch by the end.
I love that. So for you and the whole experience with Ollie, having an animal in your life, ultimately, what did it mean to you?
I cannot wait to have another animal in my life, Sian. I cannot wait. That is my retirement plan. What it means to me is I think I will never be complete until I have a dog. I know it sounds really extreme, but I have the same like visceral reaction to dogs as some people might have to children. I can see the cutest child and it would do nothing for me. A dog would walk past and sniff me and I'd be like, oh, it's made my day. Made my day. I've been chosen. I was actually just watching Disclosure Day and I don't want to ruin it, but there's a scene in there where they said they use animals, or the aliens use animals to lure us because it gives us a calming effect. And I thought, say no more, take me. If Ollie came to me, any dog came to me and said, come with me, I'd say, where are we going? Let's go. I don't even, what are what's a consequence? What could be better than going where you are?
Especially if it was little Ollie, that's for sure.
And honestly, yes, Ollie, more so. I'd probably go a little bit further with Ollie, but any dog, any dog at all, I'd be like, you know what? This place is pretty shitty anyways. Let's go. I'm ready.
Look, I think there's a lot of people that feel that way about their dogs and their cats and whatever animal they're connected to. Is there anything else that you would like to add to share the love of what Ollie meant to you, or even Ollie as a dog and Ollie's personality?
Okay, so this is kind of weird, but it's not weird, I suppose. So Taylor Swift's new song, I Knew It, I Knew You. I cannot stop listening to it. And every time I listen to it, I just think of like Ollie standing on the Rainbow Bridge and when we finally get to see each other again. And like every time I hear it, I just can't stop thinking about that. It makes me so happy and sad at the same time. And yeah, just the lyrics and how it all sounds so familiar. And I think it just like really encapsulates how I feel about the little man. And yeah, if you haven't heard it, you should go listen to it.
I'm crying already. You've
I
made
don't
me
think
cry,
it's
Lee.
I don't think it's how she intended the song, but every time I hear it, I just think, and because of our circumstances and how I had to leave him and all of
Yeah.
that, it's a very familiar tale to the one in Toy Story 5. So, I kind of feel like that song was written for me and Ollie.
Oh, I think that's beautiful, and I like to think that he's left little paw prints across your heart forever and a day,
Oh,
and I'm pretty sure you'll see him again.
100%. I know
Yeah.
I will. I know.
Lee, thank you so much for sharing Ollie with me and making me cry. And
You made me cry first.
it's just a cry fest, but it's a joyful cry fest because we get to talk about little beings that have actually brought us joy and happiness in life. So thank you for sharing your little puppy dog that brought you a lot of joy and happiness. And now you have shared that with the person who's listening to this or the person who's watching this, and you have brought a smile to their face and a moment of appreciation for the animal that they love. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a joy to talk about Ollie and cathartic as well. I didn't realize how nice this would feel. I even had the tissues ready. I'm definitely going to cry, but it feels so nice sharing this story, and it's lovely to know that Ollie's memory lives on.
It does. And he does, because you've told his story to me. So thank you.
Thanks, Ian.